next guest knows the life-saving power a dog can actually offer. Why? Because it happened to him. Welcome, Pitty founder John Flores. I had to say it that way. And Elvis the dog. Elvis, baby. Elvis the dog. And our pet rescue expert, Larissa. I'm going to put a pin in you for just a second because I want to go to you, Larissa.
Yes.
Because you found his story and said we have to talk.
So we met at the 2018 American Rescue Dog Show, which was awesome. Another great Hallmark event that brought us together. And you really stood out to me because, you know, John went through a really tough time in his life. And he was struggling and kind of down and out. And he ended up finding a pit bull that was also struggling and down and out and trying to survive. And the two teamed up and really saved each other. And just like a pebble in a pond, the ripple effect is just expanding, and you're doing such good work.
Well, thank you.
Let's talk about that, John. Let's talk about, because you call them your accidental adoptions, your accidental pit bull adoptions. So Penny Lane, this is the dog that Larissa was talking about. She found you and you found her. You weren't doing so well. What was going on?
No, in September 2011, I fell off a bicycle and I hit my head. And I couldn't balance myself. I had migraines, I had vertigo spells, I lost the ability to tie my shoes correct. It took me a long time. I couldn't drive anymore. Oh, no. So I had to see a speech therapist, occupational therapist, a physical therapist, and on top of all that, I had to see a psychologist. Because when you have so many, this was actually my 6th concussion, okay, through a span of probably 20 years, okay? But this was the one that set me off. So I had to see a psychologist.
Sure.
So,
and how did you find Penny Lane?
Well, my psychologist, during one of my sessions, she told me I need to get a dog because basically I need to stop feeling sorry for myself and maybe I need something to take care of. Well, I was like, I can't even drive to see you and you want me to get a dog. I was like,
what kind of advice is this?
Yeah, I was like, this is like the worst.
Can I walk this dog? You know?
Yeah, I'm like, a dog? Like, and it ended and I came home and my best friend of 20 years knocks on my door that day. And I haven't even told her anything that happened. And she shows me her phone. She goes, you know anyone that wants this dog? All right, it's a 6-month-old pit bull. And I was like, no. You know? And
John.
Yeah. She walks away. She's like, well, too bad. Because if they can't find her home, she's going to go to the pound. And I'm thinking, well, that's great. Someone's going to get her. Because I didn't know anything.
Right.
And they're all, no, they're going to put her down because she's a pit bull. I'm like, that's so, what? And then I hear my therapist like in my head, and I was like, all right, I get it. Yeah. I was like, fine, I'll take the dog. And she's all, fine, we're gonna pick her up at 7. I'm like, what? She's like, I knew you'd say yes. Oh my gosh. So I bring this dog home, and she's like, I didn't really know much. I had family dogs, I pet them, I didn't know, you know, but I had this pit bull who was out of control in my eyes, right? And she was doing everything. I was like, this is the worst idea ever.
Also, it's a puppy, so you have to remember it's double.
Yes.
You have a dog with a lot of energy and a tiny little dog that needs to be trained.
And she was like 40 pounds at the time, but in my eyes, she seemed like she was like 150. And everyone's staring at me and all this stuff. But I realized that this dog needed me, okay? So whenever I was feeling sorry for myself, I'd look over at her and I had to take care of her. Yeah. Whatever her issues were, I had to take care of those issues first, and then I could feel sorry for myself, right? And then I could, you know, do whatever it is that I did and put myself in that dark hole. Well, the problem was, she always needed something.
She never let him take pity on himself.
You know, so I ended up, you know, I was still in this place where I wasn't working, doing anything, and I was like, what can I do that I would do for free forever? And I looked at her, and it was like we had this moment, and she's like, dogs, duh, you know?
Yeah.
And so I started going to the rescues, their local rescue, and the shelters, and helping walk the pitties. Because by then, I had done so much research.
But that's when you and your family came together and said, listen, there's a for real serious issue with the Plate and pit bull in shelters.
Yes.
So you started fostering, and not one, not a dozen.
No.
And you didn't get the snuggly cutie ones.
No.
You got, what, 100 or so?
My family and I have fostered over 100 animals.
Oh my gosh.
100 animals.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Elvis is going to take a bow on behalf of all the pitties.
He's been there for about, he was my first one ever.
Really?
But I kept him.
Yeah.
And so he's been there through the other 99.
And tell them about Elvis and what Elvis was labeled.
Oh, well, Elvis was labeled people aggressive and dog aggressive.
What, him?
And now
Him?
look, yes.
He is not people aggressive or dog
kidding
aggressive.
me?
He's the sweetest little dog ever.
But it's an unfair test
Yeah.
in the shelter.
Well, yeah, of course, because if you're either behind bars, this is not a nice environment, of course they're not going to feel, they feel threatened. What would you say is the biggest myth about pit bulls? First of all, that's not even their real name. What are the pit
No,
bulls?
Staffordshire Terriers.
Yeah, it's
pit
like a
bulls
blanket
really
term.
don't even exist. It's called bully breeds are pit bulls and you know the different bull type dogs, but it's not actually a breed.
It's a
itself.
Stafford
Staffordshire Terrier, and most of them are all mixes and mutts, and they've got a little bit of everything in them.
Yeah.
So what are the biggest misconceptions?
Oh, they have, lockjaw. They will turn on you, right? Like, they resist. They're resisting every second of the day to not turn on their owner, basically. Like you have a pet alligator.
And you said something really interesting about people think they're either nice or mean, and they never take into account the circumstances, the fact that they may be scared.
Right.
And so you're coming up to them, and they may bite or be aggressive out of fear, but nobody thinks about it when you see this big pit bull.
Well, it's because they're so muscly.
Right.
But I love that which we've talked about this before, but there's something about this that really resonates with you.
Yes. So as I was kind of saying,
This
the ripples in
organization.
the pond, I Pity the Bull ended up becoming a humane education foundation as well. So John takes Elvis, they go into schools, and they teach something that's so important, bullying, and the fact that pit bulls are discriminated against because of how they look, just like people and kids
And the
are.
falsehoods that are told about them.
Wow.
That's there.
What?
They're rumors.
Why do you
Yeah.
think this makes such a big impact on the kids when you take the dogs in the schools?
Because kids love dogs, right? Any kid sees any dog and they're like, oh, I want to pet you. And they couldn't imagine anyone hurting this innocent animal, right?
Yeah.
So when we go in there and we tell them that, these dogs get discriminated against just based on how they look. People are getting kicked out of their houses, and there's all sorts of stuff that comes along with it just because of how they look. I kind of draw the parallels to, how many times have you picked on someone because of how they looked,
Sure.
right? The kid that's sitting by himself at the lunch table, right? You pick on that kid and you pick on that kid, and then one day he doesn't go to school anymore, right? Or one day he snaps back, right? Now that kid's aggressive, or were you doing something
To provoke them.
to provoke him? Get to know him, give him a chance,
Aww.
right? So if you wouldn't let anyone abuse an animal, I tell the kids, like, if you see an animal getting abused, are you gonna say something? And they're like, yes. I go, but if you see your fellow classmate being abused or getting picked on, are you gonna say something?
Right.
And it gets a little quieter, and it's,
Right.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Yep.
like, stand up for each other, stand up for one another, and it's got to start with kindness everywhere.
You know what else makes sense? I Pity the Bull. Makes a lot of
I
sense.
know.
A lot of
Thank you
sense.
for
It's a
everything you're
great
doing, John. You're
organization.
really a lovely.
More,
Thank
more
you so
information
much.
about ipitythebull.com. Elvis, sorry, I know you had a solo performance, but we've run out of time.
Yeah.
Thank you, Elvis. We love you. You're adorable. You all stick around because up next, interior designer Orlando Soria is bringing entertaining to the next level. Hi, Orlando.
I'm going to show you how to make a beautiful tray and 3 easy ways to style it.